What if I told you we've been hunting for aliens in the wrong spot? It's time to look closer at our own backyard.
Forget the red dust of Mars. The real secret to life in our solar system has been hiding in plain sight. Welcome to Europa. We've found 9 shocking anomalies that prove we might finally have some cosmic company.
Anomaly 9, the massive subsurface ocean. We're biased because Earth wears its water on the outside, under a warm sun.
We expect only frozen rocks past the asteroid belt. But liquid water doesn't always need a surface to exist.
Europa is Jupiter's 4th largest moon, 500 million miles away. It's a freezing world at 260 degrees below zero.
Old telescopes showed a barren ball of ice. But that frozen shell is just a mask for what's underneath.
Gravity mapping and flybys revealed a truth that changes everything. Europa isn't just ice, it's a hidden water world. Europa's icy crust is just a lid, 10 to 15 miles thick. Beneath it lies a secret that changes everything.
A globe-spanning, dynamic liquid water ocean churns under that frozen barrier. It's a hidden world waiting to be explored.
Earth's deepest trench is 11 kilometers. Europa's ocean, a staggering 100 kilometers deep. That's true cosmic scale. This single, unbroken body of water completely envelops the moon's rocky interior. Weaker gravity allows the water to stack incredibly high without turning into ice. It remains a vast, liquid abyss.
Math reveals a humbling truth. This tiny moon holds twice the water of all Earth's oceans combined. Simply incredible. We've spent billions on Mars, hunting for ghosts of water that vanished eons ago. Why focus on fallen dust?
All while an active liquid ocean has been silently churning right next door. The search for life starts here.
Europa's weaker gravity allows its subsurface ocean to stack incredibly high, preventing compression into solid ice at the bottom.
When you calculate the sheer volume of this subterranean sea, the math delivers a humbling conclusion.
This tiny moon, a quarter the size of Earth, holds over twice the liquid water found in all Earth's oceans, rivers, and lakes.
For decades, we have poured billions of dollars into forensic investigations of fallen worlds.
We send rovers to Mars, hoping to find microscopic traces of water that evaporated billions of years ago.
But all the while, right next door, an active liquid ocean has been silently churning in the dark. Water is the universal solvent. It is the absolute prerequisite for the biochemical machinery of life. Europa is not just an anomaly. It is the largest single reservoir of life-sustaining fluid in our solar system.
Number 8, the chaos terrain. A fractured, tortured wasteland awaits. If you survived the radiation and stood on Europa, you wouldn't find a smooth, perfect sheet of ice. Instead, you'd be in a fractured, tortured wasteland.
In the late 1990s, Galileo beamed back images. Scientists found regions they named chaos terrain. Vast, jagged expanses where the flat surface is shattered. It looks like a jigsaw puzzle of monolithic icebergs.
Massive ice blocks, some the size of Earth's cities, are broken apart, tilted, rotated, and refrozen into intense new configurations.
You can trace the edges of massive ice rafts, seeing where they fit before being torn away and set adrift.
Ice simply doesn't behave this way on a fallen world. Oh.
Water is the ultimate solvent, the essential spark for the complex biochemical machinery that builds life itself.
Europa is more than an anomaly. It's the solar system's greatest reservoir of life-sustaining fluid.
Number 8, the chaos terrain. Forget smooth ice. Europa's surface is a jagged radiation blast nightmare.
You'd stand in a fractured, tortured wasteland. This moon is active, breathing, and far from fallen.
In the late 90s, Galileo beamed back high-res images. Scientists were stunned by what they saw. They discovered the chaos terrain, vast, jagged expanses where the moon's crust has been completely shattered.
It's a monolithic jigsaw puzzle of icebergs, broken and frozen into intense, chaotic configurations.
City-sized blocks of ice have been tilted and rotated, proving that something powerful is churning beneath.
If you were to somehow survive the radiation and stand on the surface of Europa, you would not find a smooth, perfect sheet of ice. You would find yourself standing in the middle of a fractured, tortured wasteland. When Galileo beamed back images in the late 90s, scientists named these fractured regions chaos terrain.
Look! The chaos terrain! We found it! Woohoo! Discovery!
These are vast, jagged expanses where the normally flat surface has been completely shattered.
It looks like a jigsaw puzzle of monolithic icebergs, some the size of entire Earth cities.
These ice blocks, some city-sized, have been broken apart, tilted, rotated, and refrozen into intense new configurations.
You can trace the edges of massive ice rafts, seeing where they fit before being torn away and set adrift.
Ice simply does not behave this way on a fallen world. Look at our own moon. The landscape there has remained virtually unchanged for billions of years. A museum perfectly preserving the impact. Europa is different. Impact craters are shockingly rare here. The surface is incredibly young. Geologists estimate the exterior ice is no more than 40 to 90 million years old. On a cosmic timescale, Europa's surface was created.
The terrain fractures when warm water plumes or heated slush columns from the deep ocean push up against the brittle crust.
Surface melts, breaks, and collapses. The ocean's influence directly interacts with the exterior vacuum before freezing again.
The barrier is permeable.
Minerals and chemicals from the dark abyss are continuously dredged up to the surface.
Look, it's incredibly young, only 40 to 90 million years old. Europa's ice is practically fresh. On a cosmic scale, this surface was born yesterday. It's a dynamic, living world, not a frozen tomb.
This chaos proves the ice shell is active. It's a breathing geological system, constantly shifting and changing.
Warm water plumes from the deep ocean push against the brittle crust, causing the surface to fracture.
The ice melts and collapses, allowing the hidden ocean to interact directly with the vacuum of space.
The barrier is permeable. Minerals from the dark abyss are continuously dredged up to the surface.
Simultaneously, irradiated materials from the exterior are swallowed back down into the moon's watery depths.
Europa is constantly recycling its crust, acting as a perpetual chemical conveyor belt for life's ingredients. Number 7. The induced magnetic field signature. This discovery changed everything we thought we knew about Europa's interior.
In 1996, the Galileo spacecraft performed a close flyby. Its magnetometers were silent.
A massive anomaly. Scientists were stunned. This wasn't just noise. It was a clear signal from deep within the moon. Jupiter has the strongest magnetic field in our solar system. It's a monstrous, invisible envelope. As Europa orbits, it plows through this field. Galileo detected a distortion. But as physicists analyzed the telemetry, they realized this wasn't a standard magnetic field. It was something far more revealing. Earth generates its own field via a spinning molten core of liquid iron.
Europa's field was different. It fluctuated in perfect sync with Jupiter.
It was an induced field. According to the laws of electromagnetism, there is only one way a moon can generate such a signature. The moon must contain a global, subsurface layer of an electrically conductive fluid. Solid rock and ice just wouldn't warp the lines this way. As Europa orbits Jupiter, it constantly plows through this high-energy field. Galileo's sensors picked up a distortion. But as physicists analyzed the telemetry, they realized this wasn't a standard magnetic field. Earth generates its own field via a spinning molten core. Europa's magnetic field was different. It fluctuated, changing direction and intensity in perfect synchronization with the moon. According to electromagnetism, only one way a planetary body can generate an induced field of this specific nature. It must If the moon were solid rock and ice, Jupiter's magnetic field lines would pass right through it with minimal distortion. But the line...
This data transitioned the subterranean ocean from a strong hypothesis.
Pure distilled liquid water is a poor conductor of electricity. To generate the massive magnetic signature Galileo recorded, it must be heavily laced with dissolved ions. It must be briny. We are looking at an ocean of salt water. Europa was bending Jupiter's magnetic field around itself. It was generating a signature. But as physicists analyzed the telemetry, they realized this wasn't a standard magnetic field. Earth generates its own field via a spinning, molten core of liquid iron. Europa's magnetic field was different. Fluctuated. It changed direction and intensity in perfect synchronization with the moon's position within Jupiter's broader magnetic field. It was an induced field. Electromagnetism dictates only one way a planetary body can generate an induced magnetic field of this specific nature. The moon must contain a global, subsurface layer of an electrically conductive fluid.
Your distilled water? It's actually a terrible conductor. To get that massive magnetic signature, Europa's ocean must be something else entirely.
Galileo's data doesn't lie. That massive magnetic signature means we're not just looking at melted ice. It's a briny, mineral-rich soup. It's confirmed! Saltwater!
Europa's hidden sea is a briny abyss.
Chemically similar to our own oceans.
This changes everything.
Look at the fingerprint. It's a perfect match for a mineral-rich sea. Chemically, it's the twin of Earth's vast oceans.
We've found the sweet spot, the perfect salinity for life. It's a bubbling cauldron of complex, biologically active chemistry.
Anomaly number 6, the reddish scars. Just look at those rust-colored streaks. They're like veins of dried, intense red across the moon.
These are the lineae, immense fractures stretching for thousands of kilometers.
A chaotic...
Scientists have debated these scars for years. Pure ice should be white or blue.
That deep red? That's a sign of contamination.
Spectroscopic analysis finally cracked the code of those red scars. They're loaded with magnesium sulfate, basically giant deposits of Epsom salts. Mix in some sulfuric acid and other hydrated minerals, and you've got a complex chemical soup, not just frozen water.
But here's the real kicker. The spectral signature is a perfect match for irradiated organic compounds. This is getting interesting.
We're looking at carbon-based molecules, the very building blocks of life, and they're welling up from deep within the moon.
Forget meteorite dust. These stains are internal. It's the moon's own guts bubbling up and spilling onto the icy surface.
Jupiter's massive gravity acts like a giant hand, squeezing and flexing Europa's shell until the crust literally splits wide open. Mineral-rich ocean water from the deep rocky core seeps into these massive fissures, reaching for the cold vacuum of space. The moment that seawater connects the surface, it freezes solid. But the story doesn't end there. The environment is just getting started. Spectroscopic analysis decode these scars' chemical makeup. Their magnesium sulfate, Epsom salts, sulfuric acid, and more compelling, these red scars' spectral signature matches irradiated organic compounds, carbon-based molecules. This changes everything. These materials aren't from space or meteorite impacts. They're welling up from Europa's interior. Jupiter's gravity flexes Europa's ice shell, splitting the crust. Mineral-rich ocean water from the deep interior seeps into these massive fissures. When this seawater connects the surface, space's vacuum freezes it instantly. Then, Europa's harsh environment goes to work.
Jupiter's intense radiation belts bombard Europa's surface. This brutal radiation strikes the frozen salts and organics, baking them.
Radiation alters their chemical form, turning them deep, rusty red. These aren't just ice cracks, they're irradiated.
Life's building blocks bleed from Europa's interior, painting its surface. The moon broadcasts its internal chemistry and biological potential directly into our telescopes.
Number 3, the deep sea hydrothermal vents. Water and oxygen are great, but life needs a fundamental spark, a concentrated source of heat.
Without sunlight, energy must come from below. To understand this, we just have to look at our own seafloor.
In 1977, explorers in the submersible Alvin descended into the Galapagos Rift, thousands of meters deep, and they found hydrothermal vents, black smokers, towering chimneys of rock where superheated mineral-rich water
is. Surrounding these geysers were thriving ecosystems, giant tube worms, ghost white crabs, and unique shrimp.
The entire food chain was based on chemosynthesis. Bacteria were converting toxic hydrogen sulfide directly into life-sustaining energy. Europa possesses this same primordial engine. It has a solid rocky mantle at the bottom of its 100-kilometer deep ocean. Because the moon is subjected to immense internal friction, that rocky core generates intense heat. It's a near certainty the floor is fractured. It's a near certainty the floor of Europa's ocean is heavily fractured. Seawater seeps down into the hot rock. To understand this, look at our own seafloor. In 1977, explorers in the submersible Alvin descended into the Galapagos Rift. Enveloped in absolute darkness, they discovered something that permanently altered biology. They found hydrothermal vents, known as black smokers. Surrounding these scalding geysers, scientists found bizarre, thriving ecosystems. Giant red-tipped tube worms. The moon is already showing us its internal chemistry, broadcasting its biological potential directly into our telescopes.
Number 5. The 200-kilometer water plumes.
Sampling Europa's ocean has long been considered an insurmountable engineering nightmare. The logistics are paralyzing. You would have to land a probe safely on a highly irradiated surface. You would need to deploy a nuclear-powered cryobot. That robot would melt through 15 miles of rock-hard cryogenic ice, maintaining power and communication through a ship.
It is a mission profile straight out of science fiction. Then, the universe offered a shortcut.
In 2012 and again in 2016, the Hubble Space Telescope was staring at Europa as it passed in front of Jupiter. Astronomers analyzing the ultraviolet data detected something erupting from the moon's southern hemisphere.
Against Jupiter's massive backdrop, Hubble captured silhouettes of towering columns blasting into the vacuum of space.
These are water vapor plumes, planetary-scale geysers erupting from the moon's hidden depths. Telemetry indicates these eruptions launch water vapor and ice particles over 120 miles high into the void. The plume launched particles high into space. Eventually, gravity pulls this frozen material back down, snowing it across the moon's surface.
Blasting hundreds of thousands of pounds of vapor this high requires internal pressure that defies imagination.
Forget tranquil pools. This subterranean ocean is a churning, high-pressure creature, far from a passive reservoir of cold water. Imagine a geothermally intense system, pulsing with raw energy and immense pressure deep beneath the ice. It's literally cracking its own shell, venting internal passion directly into the cold vacuum of the cosmos.
This discovery flips the script on how we search for life in the universe. It's a total game changer.
Forget the drill. The universe just handed us a shortcut. Hubble caught massive plumes erupting from Europa's southern pole. Look at those geysers. They're blasting water vapor 120 miles into the void. It's a planetary-scale fountain in deep space.
This changes everything. We can sample the alien ocean just by flying through the spray. No 15-mile drill required.
But what about oxygen? Jupiter's deadly radiation is actually a blessing, powering a massive, non-biological oxygen-making engine on the surface.
Radiation shatters the ice's atomic bonds, freeing oxygen. This life-giving gas then gets trapped within the porous frozen crust.
Tectonic forces pull that oxygen-rich ice down into the depths. We're talking millions of tons of oxygen fueling the abyss annually. Now for the spark.
Deep-sea hydrothermal vents on the rocky floor provide the perfect chemical soup to ignite alien biology.
These vents are bubbling incubators. They could support thriving ecosystems through chemosynthesis, thriving in total darkness, miles beneath the ice.
Forget telescopes. To understand Europa, we just need to look at the most brutal, frozen wasteland on Earth. Welcome to Antarctica.
For decades, we assumed these massive ice sheets were frozen solid right down to the rock, a fallen, icy desert. We were wrong. Ground-penetrating radar revealed a massive secret buried 4 kilometers deep, a hidden world beneath the ice, Lake Vostok. This subglacial lake is the size of Lake Ontario, trapped in eternal darkness and powerful force by the weight of a continent. Isolated for up to 25 million years, it's been cut off from our atmosphere and the sun. It's a time capsule of darkness. Lake Vostok is the perfect mirror for Europa. Cold, dark, and buried under an impenetrable government agency of ice. It's an alien world at home. When scientists finally prepared to sample these ancient waters, the experts were certain of one thing. They'd find absolutely nothing.
They expected a sterile, fallen environment. No light, no air, no life.
But when scientists finally drilled into these ancient waters, the consensus was simple. They expected to find a completely sterile environment. They believed nothing could survive millions of years of total darkness and immense pressure. But they were completely, utterly wrong. Water samples revealed thousands of species of extremophile bacteria. They found an entire ecosystem thriving.
These complex organisms adapted to the dark, living off minerals from the bedrock. Europa is Lake Vostok on a planetary scale.
While Vostok was isolated for 25 million years, Europa's ocean has remained stable for over 4 billion years.
Europa has the same chemistry, darkness, and energy sources. To assume it's sterile ignores how aggressively life persists across the cosmos.
There is a vast, deep ocean churning under the ice. Europa is Lake Vostok on a planetary scale, but with a massive twist. It's been isolated for 4 billion years. If life found a way in the pitch black of Antarctica, why not here? It's pure chemistry and stubbornness. Europa has the same darkness, the same minerals, and the same intense energy. It's a perfect, ancient incubator.
Oxygen is being pumped into the deep right now. All the ingredients for a biological energy burst are ready. To assume this world is sterile is to ignore how aggressively life dynamic action to exist. The math is clear.
If the rules of the universe are consistent, we are almost certainly not alone. Discovery is just beneath us.
A vast, deep ocean has been churning in silence for eons. It's the largest cradle of life we've found.
In that absolute darkness, 400 million miles away, something is swimming. We just have to look.